Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It is me, Kelly K Glam, and I'm here today to review episode 12 of Grownish called Big Drip. And I'm just gonna say, for this to be on public TV, in Freeform is typically supposed to be a family channel because it used to be called ABC Family. I do not agree with some of the contents that were aired tonight for teenagers to be watching. I just do not think that that was okay. And I know if my mom would have seen me watching that episode, if my mom would have seen me watching that episode at 16 or 17, she would have walked in my room and would have been like, Kayla, what in the world is this you in here watching? That's exactly, I felt like that, and I'm 31. So I know for a fact that should not have been on TV. So, at the end of last season, or the end of the middle of the season, whatever you want to call it, Junior decided he wanted to live life in the fast lane. And I'm not here to shame anybody or make anybody feel bad about their decisions. Junior decided to be grown, because that's what our parents used to call it, grown. Junior decided to be grown, and he decided that he wanted to, instead of settle down with Annika, which, you know, in college, a lot of people have that mindset where they be like, I'm here for a good time, not a long time, and I'm just here to have fun. I'm not here to get in a relationship with nobody. But Junior has always, he was not and never was a thought by any means. He always was a relationship man. Even on Blackish, Junior always had a girlfriend. Whether it was Megan, or whether it was Olivia, or whether it was dang, what was the girl who broke his heart? Oh, it was Olivia. Or the other girl, I can't remember her name. Anyway, Junior always was in a relationship. And his biggest, like, he was very much so emotionally intelligent, and very much so was like a mama's boy. So he had a good relationship with women, like on the show, and he never was a thought by any means. Now Junior getting to college, trying to explore his options, not necessarily what I expected, but okay, we're gonna roll with it because that's what's on right now. But making Junior turn into a thought, and his thought explorations led him to having a health scare. So now we're talking about STIs. And so I was like, okay, well, we're a college show and we're gonna bring awareness to STIs. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. So instead of taking the mature approach, Grownish tried to make it comical. And I think in order to spread awareness, there's nothing wrong with being comical, but that kind of conversation needed more of what is it when you put the little information at the bottom of the screen that people could call, or, you know, a little advice line. It was none of that. It was a giving awareness, like, I hate to do this to Grownish again, but we're gonna go there. For example, like, if you are familiar with Different World had an actual episode about HIV and AIDS, and they approached it very sensitively. That's the word, sensitively. They approached it sensitively. It gave awareness. it knocked down stigma around the disease, as well as informed you. This we didn't learn nothing about. They was talking about herpes. They didn't teach the children nothing about herpes, how to steer clear of herpes, what to look for with herpes. In comparison to different world, they did all of that. You know what I'm saying? And that was in the probably late 80s, early 90s. This is 2023, and we're mishandling the topic of STIs. I felt like that was irresponsible on Grownish's behalf. Because, okay, he had a scare, he got tested. So that's the first thing he did. He got tested, and as soon as he found out, I think he had only been with that one person since she told him. And I think it was irresponsible. I think it was irresponsible for her to not tell him, because that was another thing. It was irresponsible of the girl that he was sleeping with not to tell him. But at the same time, at least like when she was having a flare up, she did tell him they did not do anything. Okay. So far, I was like, all right. Now, when it came to the self-gratification piece of the episode, I do not agree that should have been on cable TV. Like, we're going to have to run back having some things off air. If you're going to put that on streaming, you put that on streaming. But self-gratifying, and if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, you just have to read between the lines. Because I'm not going to say certain words on here because we don't know where the children are. We don't know. Just like their audience, they need to be aware of their audience. I'm aware of my audience. And having self-gratification on daytime television, they might have pushed Grownish back an hour or so, and it might be coming on at 10 just for the content. But still, having it on cable TV, because that might rerun during the day. You just never know. And I just don't think that children in high school should be watching stuff like that, because I know when I was in high school, even when I was in middle school, some of the stuff that was on Degrassi, and if you grew up in my era, you know about Degrassi. Some of the stuff that we grew up with watching on Degrassi was a little risque for a 13, 14-year-old. And I know a 13, 14-year-old is probably watching Grownish. I know definitely 15 and 16-year-olds are watching Grownish. So I don't think that should have been on TV. Grownish. And I think they just missed the mark totally with the type of awareness they could have had around going to college, protecting yourself, having safe encounters if you're going to be grown, and using logic. I definitely think they missed the mark with that for sure. I think that was irresponsible on them, and I cannot believe actually that Marcus Scribner agreed to that, because I just did not see that for him. Not on Grownish. I just did not. No, I did not see that for him. I just feel like I just cannot believe, like, Grownish, this is the same show that talked about colorism, that talked about mental health, they talked about anxiety, taking anxiety, they talked about drugs and the selling of drugs, like, and how it can, what are the consequences. And even though it kind of touched base on the consequences of what could have happened to Junior, it was like he learned his lesson, but he didn't learn his lesson, because you had Doug and Aaron saying, oh, well, you're in the clear. Like, no, sir, be more responsible. But I think that he ended up learning by the end of the episode that he is not that kind of person, and that kind of life is not for him, which I was a little bit happier to see. If y'all want to know what I'm doing, I'm creating nails while I'm giving y'all this review. But yeah, so I just thought that was a little irresponsible of Grownish. You know, I ain't saying, I know TV watching is for entertainment purposes, but that right there, I feel like that was totally irresponsible because of the type of audience Grownish has, for sure. I know, like, I know Grownish typically might possibly have an audience between 18 to 35, but yeah, no. I think it should have taken a more mature approach. And I know people don't want to feel like, oh, well, this is a show created by Black people. You don't want to, over critique. But I feel like this is the reason why we can't critique, because we know what we like and we know what we want to see on TV, and that wasn't it. Also, Junior likes Annika or Anika, whatever her name is, but I just don't feel like she's emotionally intelligent enough for Junior. I feel like Junior is used to clean cut girls, and I feel like she's a little bit more edgier for Junior from typically what the attention Junior gets. But Annika does like Junior, but I don't know. They trying to make Junior and Annika be the new Zoe and Aaron, and I'm not getting that chemistry on screen with them like I got from Zoe and Aaron, like when Grownish first started. Because Zoe had the hugest crush on Aaron, but Aaron also had a crush on Zoe, but he never said it until like a little bit later. So, yeah. I think that's all I gotta say about Junior and Annika. As far as Aaron goes with this new job, or Aaron was questioning like the morality of him working for, because Kiela called him out for working with this company that, typically is known for using money, investing their money in like the detriment of others. And she was just like, I got tired of fighting that. A lot of companies are going to be like that. And that's another conversation for another day, because that is true. Like, we get so caught up in trying to stay real, but in order to stay real, you have to assess what's really happening. Like a lot of corporations and a lot of businesses that we, support every day and buy their products, they tie their money into other things that are not in our best interest, like as a community, and we still support them. Time and time again, for example, the NFL. People still support the NFL, and it's going to forever be supported because people don't care. I mean, people care, but they really don't care. And that's just that. But like she said, it's all in what you do. So then they have certain aspects for example, they have certain aspects of the NFL where they do community outreach. They take the money that they've made, and even though it's nothing compared to what they make in totality, but they still do certain things for the community, especially if it's a team that's like, for example, let's say the Philadelphia Eagles, because they were just on TV the other day. Like, I'm sure the Philadelphia Eagles does things in the Philly community. It just, that's how it is. And so Aaron actually did, some community outreach for her, where whatever that company is he's working for, they actually was giving out boxes of food, and he enjoyed himself. And he said that she challenges him. So I feel like this was a little bit of foreshadowing, because Zoe is not around right now, which I thought Zoe would have been back and we would have been seeing her on the screen regularly. But here we are, our third episode in, and Zoe's only been in one. So we sitting here looking at Aaron possibly beginning to fall for somebody else. I want to see how this is going to turn out because I know for a fact that the Grownish writers are not doing this to us. It's definitely giving Spencer and Olivia all over again. But with Aaron and Zoe again. Like, Zoe and Aaron fought so hard for so long to be together. All the seasons of Grownish. I know this one girl is not finna, after we just went through all of that with Zoe and Aaron to be together, not finna come and Zoe not be there and then he be falling for somebody else. Like, he know Zoe is like the love of his life, or he wants Zoe to be the love of his life, but Zoe's not around and this person is, and she's challenging him intellectually and she's got common interest with him, and he, like, I was there with Doug when Doug said, hey, what would Zoe think about what you're doing? What would she have to say? And we did not get to see Aaron talk to Zoe about it. So that is interesting in itself because that leaves an open gray area for the viewer to kind of like have thoughts about, you know? Thought that was interesting. Also, Junior brought up a point about being a relationship guy and whether or not he's happy out here sowing his royal oats, or whether or not he's happier in a relationship. And Aaron did say that he was happier for sure being in a relationship, especially like with Zoe, even though Zoe and him have their differences and they may not share all the same common interests. That's his best friend, and so he gets to have the best friend and the romantic aspects of his relationship with Zoe. And Junior kind of pulled the card and was like, you can't tell me you wasn't your happiest when you was with Jazz. Hashtag bring back Jazz. We want Jazz and Doug. I feel like Jazz and Doug's story got done dirty, and I'm not here for that at all, not one bit, because I'm like, why would y'all do that? You mean to tell me that y'all only had them in a contract for 4 years? What happened to 7? Let me stop. Let me not do that. And the only reason why I said that is because I was watching this interview with Kadeem Hardison and Jasmine Guy, and they were saying that they was in a contract for 7 years, so they had to be on air. NBC had them in the contract for 7 years. But yeah, I would like to see the older crew come back more, because I just think Grownish did a disservice with this new crew. I still don't know them people's name. I still don't know their names. And I don't even think they're the main characters on the show. Like, everybody who was like Zoe's friend was a main character on the show. And they showed us different aspects of people's lives. I don't even think any of them people are main characters on the show. I think they're all recurring characters. And so I just really, like, if they was going to incorporate Junior going to school, they should have just incorporated Junior going to school, and they should have kept everybody else on the show, and we should have been able to see what life was like for them post-college, because that's never been done. Or, I mean, Different World started it, but they didn't finish it. The show got taken off air by the time we got to that point. So, I think that's all I have for Grownish today. Grownish, y'all get a 5 might be too high. For today, out of 10 Grownish, y'all is about at a 3 or 4. I'm not even gonna hold you. We're gonna hope for the best, and hopefully we get something of some substance, because Grownish is losing it. Kenya Barris, I love you, but you need to go back to the drawing board. I don't know what's happening. But this right here, Junior, I don't know. But I'm gonna wait it out and see. I'll be back next week with more. Like, comment, subscribe. If you haven't, take a look at my All-American and All-American Homecoming reviews. They're up from Monday's episodes. Yeah, I'll be back next week, y'all. Deuces.